Come along with us to Albania's capital city of Tirana. It has a fascinating and complex history spanning almost 400 years, stemming from Ottoman, Italian, and communist period influences. But its people are focused on the future. It's one of Europe's most affordable cities with plenty of walkable streets, public parks, a relaxed cafe culture, and delicious, authentic food. We tell you all you need to know and do, and include prices for everything too. I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Finding Gina Marie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way.
So we arrived in Tirana yesterday and it was late. Too dark to really see anything that was going on, and we had a long travel day, so we really didn't go out and explore. But it's a fresh new day, sun is out, it's beautiful weather, it's a little cool, and one of our favorite things to do is just to, well, of course, get coffee, but on the way, to just kind of take in what's the lay of the land. And I'm super excited because when we were driving in, I could see that there were some fruit and vegetable stands, and there's one literally like half a stone's throw from our Airbnb, which also is perfect for us for a month.
Yeah, I mean, pretty easy walking. We barely got off our street.
Albania is located in Southeast Europe on the Balkan Peninsula. Italy lies to the west across the Adriatic Sea, and Greece shares a land border. Tirana itself is centrally located in the western part of Albania and is a quick 35-minute ride from the airport. It's nestled at the foot of the Dajti mountain, but because Tirana is flat, it's a very comfortable city for walking. We highly recommend staying in the Bloku neighborhood, which is known for its cafes, bars, and restaurants, and also its fresh vegetable and fruit stands. It's known for its nightlife scene, but we didn't experience that. When the country was under communist rule, Bloku, meaning the bloc, was an exclusive, restricted area reserved for members of the Albanian Communist Party and their families. It was only after the fall of communism that the neighborhood opened to the public and transformed into a lively and trendy neighborhood. Living in this area for a month made it convenient to visit all the sites we are going to talk about. So what are the things you should know? Make sure you stop by an ATM when you arrive here, because cash only is the norm at nearly half of the places we visited. Some places will accept euros, but plenty don't, so make sure to carry cash in the local currency, which is Albanian lek. In addition to speaking Albanian, we found a lot of people who spoke Italian and some Greek. Enough Albanians spoke English, so we had no problems communicating what we wanted, and restaurant menus often had English translations.
So I think what we've seen in Tirana is a lot of influences from Italy. The coffee shops, the outdoor seating, the aperitivi, the pizza, the gelato.
In fact, most people who are tourists are not going to be speaking Albanian, but we've had a lot of locals ask us if we can speak Italian. So I think that is one of the languages that's very commonly spoken here as kind of a way to communicate effectively.
Even the fruit stand you had, that one lady was like, speak Italian, we can talk about things. Like,
a little.
Yeah, ci provo, a little bit.
One thing I really enjoy is that Tirana has so many great outdoor seating areas. And the bummer is that there are a lot of smokers. So sometimes if you're trying to sit outside, you kind of have to position yourself in such a way that you don't have smoke blowing on you. But otherwise, it's nice.
You have to be upwind.
We bought big jugs of bottled water versus drinking from the tap for extra safety. Our Airbnb's internet speeds were outstanding, and many cafes and restaurants offered great Wi-Fi. One of our favorite parts of Tirana is its cafe culture. You can't walk down the street without passing one of the many cafes, and there are all different types, so you can pick the vibe that serves you best. There are traditional coffee houses serving strong Turkish coffee, and super local cafes with seating that overflows onto the sidewalks, to modern shops that serve espresso, cappuccinos, and morning smoothies.
So basically, it's looking like at 150 lek, that's equal to $1.67.
That's about 1.5 euro.
Yeah, and that's just not juice. That's also a combination, strawberries and bananas, a mixed green shake with spinach for $2.50. That's pretty impressive. That's $2.78. We're coming back here.
And Kevin's favorite cappuccino companion, pastries. One of the most popular bakery offerings is börek, which is a flaky stuffed pastry. We kept coming back to Sophie Cafe.
All right, we're just talking about fresh fruits and fruit smoothies and everything else, and now you ordered a blueberry muffin, which looks like it's basically blueberries with a little bit of muffin included.
Which exactly sounds delicious to me.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a fruit fantastic meal.
At first, I thought it was a little bit sweet. And maybe it is, but oh my gosh, those blueberries are everywhere. And that taste is so fresh and tart and sweet as well. The blueberries are here. You're gonna have to try some.
Oh my god, yeah. Just fresh blueberries with some nice muffin on it.
Yep, quite
Great.
tasty.
So pricing here is amazing because we had 2 cappuccinos, which were very generous pours, a beautiful blueberry muffin, and a fruit-filled croissant. 500 lek, which is basically €5. The last time we had something this cheap for breakfast was Italy, and we certainly weren't getting these massive pours of cappuccino. I'm not complaining right now. So far, so good. First morning is a great experience here in Tirana.
So we've been in Tirana, Albania for several days as we've been doing some work, and we're excited today because we finally get a chance to take a bike tour and learn all about the history and culture and some of the important sites. Our bike tour started with Skanderbeg Square, the main plaza in Tirana that celebrates the hero George Castrioti Skanderbeg, who led the resistance against the Ottoman Empire and fought for Albanian independence in the 15th century. The equestrian statue you see in the square is a tribute to him, and this large mosaic on the facade of the National Historical Museum showcases key moments from Albanian history from antiquity to the communist era. There's even a carousel to ride, and the Ferris wheel is typically open until midnight, depending on the season. Having bikes allowed us to not only experience the Grand Park of Tirana, but we also took a ride around the artificial Lake of Tirana, a large man-made lake that spans almost half the park. Tirana Park also hosts a memorial to commemorate the victims of the communist regime. It consists of 3 elements: one of the more than 750,000 bunkers scattered across the country, a 2.6-ton fragment of the Berlin Wall, gifted from Germany to commemorate the end of communism in Eastern Europe, and concrete pillars from a labor camp where alleged opponents of the communist regime were tortured and killed. The Pyramid of Tirana is an interesting and controversial building. Originally built without exterior stairs to be a museum dedicated to Albania's communist iron-fisted leader, Enver Hoxha, it's been transformed after the fall of communism. Now, there are stairs on every side. It hosts art exhibits and has an IT center with a classroom. The city has added pops of vibrant color to the buildings surrounding the pyramid and sculptures to modernize and breathe new life into the area. People watch the sunset from the top, but you'll want to arrive early because it gets crowded at night. We loved all the green space throughout Tirana, and one of the many places you can find that is in Taiwan Park, established as a symbol of friendship between Albania and Taiwan.
Oi, matey.
I can imagine having a ton of fun if I would have had something like that to play with as a kid.
I'll go for it.
As a kid.
Oh, I thought you were reliving your childhood here. No?
I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
I remember we used to have a rocket ship playground, and all of the fantasies that we created for ourselves out of that rocket. I could do the same thing with that ship.
Whee!
This 100-year independence monument was built in 2012 to celebrate 100 years of independence from the Ottoman Empire.
And in this panel, there's writing at the top, which is part of their Declaration of Independence, and also some signatures right below it.
Though it's small, Tirana Castle is a charming historic spot with cafes and shops tucked inside. It's a good place to wander, relax, and take in some local atmosphere.
So technically right now we're inside Tirana Castle, which obviously there's no part of a castle from this part of the structure. It was originally dating back to the Byzantine period around the 6th century AD, and it was rebuilt and modified over the years by different rulers, including the Ottomans.
There was no sushi in the Ottoman era?
No.
No, okay.
Today what really just remains are portions of its ancient walls, particularly along Murat Toptani Street, which is where the exterior is.
The House of Leaves is named after the ivy that covers the exterior of the building. Originally a luxury villa for a wealthy family in the 1930s, it transformed into the national headquarters of the Gestapo following the Nazi occupation of Albania in 1943. In 1945, when Albania was under communist rule, it became a base for operations of the secret police, Albania's version of the KGB. The House of Leaves holds chilling artifacts, such as listening devices and interrogation torture rooms, that reveal the painful reality of a regime built on surveillance and fear. Now, the House of Leaves is a museum dedicated to the innocent people who were spied on, arrested, prosecuted, convicted, and executed during the communist regime. Understanding this dark chapter in Albania's history offers insight into the resilience of its people, shaped by oppression and a complex relationship with their government. If you're into history, you'll want to visit this lesser-known site, which is an archaeological remnant of an ancient Roman house and bath complex. It's a quiet, peaceful place with little tourist traffic. We would never have found it if we hadn't bumped into a local named John, who took us inside the construction gates. He was also a huge fan of 60s and 70s rock, even had tattoos.
I'll say that was probably one of the highlights of our time in Tirana, was spending time with John. We ended up going and grabbing a cappuccino and an espresso and trying our best
Struggling
to use our bit of Italian with him, and he knew a lot more English than we probably knew Italian, in part because he was such a music buff, and I think he's learned a fair amount of English through music.
Big rock fan from the 60s and 70s, Zeppelin and all the rest.
And just even trying to communicate together, I think it's just really special when you're able to bridge that communication gap.
Would have been more special if we could bridge it better, but we'll take baby steps at this point.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
Our top two places are near each other, so you should make plans to visit them together. Before you visit our #1 site, take a nearby hike to Dajti Express cable car up the Dajti mountain for a scenic view of Tirana. Unfortunately, we visited on a Tuesday, and that's the day when the cable car was closed, so plan ahead if you can. While Bunk'Art 2 is conveniently located in the city center, it focuses more on the daily lives of Albanians under the regime. Bunk'Art 1 offers a much more immersive experience by being built in an actual military bunker. You can get tickets for both, but if you had to choose, Bunk'Art 1 is the better experience. It's 258,000 square feet of interconnected rooms and corridors made of reinforced concrete, characteristic of Cold War military architecture. During the 1970s, Enver Hoxha's intense paranoia about potential attacks from the West and neighboring countries led to the construction of over 750,000 bunkers throughout Albania. Bunk'Art 1 is a significant example of an underground military installation built during this period, designed to both protect military personnel and citizens from perceived threats. The presence of these bunkers, along with the regime's isolationist policies, contributed to a widespread atmosphere of fear and distrust toward outside influences, on top of the already stressful surveillance of its own Albanian people. Getting there is easy with a direct and dirt-cheap ride on the L11 bus. Just take a seat and a bus attendant will come by to sell you a ticket for only 40 lek each. Tanner's Bridge is a lesser-known, beautifully preserved 18th century Ottoman bridge. It's a peaceful spot to visit and offers a glimpse into the city's historical infrastructure. It's a picturesque place for photos, too. Don't forget to enjoy some of the authentic local foods. Of course, there were Albanian specialties here, but also lots of Italian, Greek, and Turkish foods. And the Greek foods were every bit as tasty as what we've had in Greece. And plenty of restaurants had American fare as well.
So we managed to squeeze into Era. We've been here a few times, but we've never had a chance to actually record our meals because we're having dinner with friends.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be able to do that, but we want to bring you some true Albanian food so that you can enjoy it along with us. So we're starting off with an appetizer, and this is called summer curd dip. I know that there is a more official name for it. It's basically peppers scorched in flames with sweet curd, white sheep cheese, olive oil, garlic, and parsley, and just some good crusty rustic bread.
Yeah, the bread's really nice.
It's so tasty. It's really warm, and I could just eat this with a spoon. I don't need bread. So I'm having Era's meatballs that have pistachio and mint, and they're made with lamb and pork and also veal. Quite tasty. I like the different, the pistachio in here just kind of adds some nice crunch and texture, and the yogurt is cooling. It's very good. So what do you have there, Kevin?
I have the Kosovo sausage. A lot of their meats are veal. Their sausage, I believe, is also made with veal. That is spicier than I expected.
And those are minced vegetables in there as well.
I'll need these to cool off my mouth. Very nice. And it's not so big because that appetizer we just had was delicious, but very filling when you keep loading it on the bread. If you like spicy sausage, this is a great option.
This is our third time to eat at Era, and each time the food's been spot on. So we do recommend it, especially for authentic Albanian food. However, we suggest that you get reservations. We're here today on a Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and we had to wait to get in. And also we tried to book for this evening, and they were booked solid. So it's a place you definitely need to try, but reservations will make it a lot easier. Here's a tip for full-time or extended stay travelers. Albania is outside the Schengen countries, so you can stay here without counting against your 90-day limit. Plus, we think you'll really enjoy the comfort and ease of Tirana. We were lucky enough to run into 3 couples who are followers of our channel. James and Charmaine, who we kept bumping into even when we didn't have plans together, made our mealtimes so much more enjoyable. Diana and Joe, who have their own YouTube channel called The Sicily Adventures, where they share renovations of their new home in Sicily and other travels that you should check out. And a third camera-shy couple we got caught in a downpour with.
Oh, we're just out for a stroll in the rain and hail. It was sunny when we walked out this morning. Met some lovely people who watch our channel. Had a conversation with them, and then this started. So we're trying to wait it out, but I don't know if it's getting any better.
So what did we pay for a month in Albania? Our Airbnb was super affordable at $861.68, or $28.72 per night. Groceries and restaurant meals cost us $1,044.53, or $34.82 per day, which is only $17.41 per person per day. Getting my hair colored was $78.45, which includes a tip. Entrance fees and our bike tour cost us a total of $131.50, or $65.75 a piece. Broken down, the House of Leaves cost us $8.09 a piece. Bunk'Art 1 tickets cost us $10.14 a piece. Our bike tour was $47.53, including a tip. Bus tickets to Bunk'Art 1 were 92 cents. That's less than 50 cents a piece for a 15-minute ride. Taxis to and from the airport and the ridiculously cheap bus to Bunk'Art 1 was a total of $38.29, or $19.15 a piece. Our total cost in Tirana was $2,340.54, or $78.02 per day, and a low price of $39.01 per person per day. We think that's a really affordable cost for our month in Albania. We've enjoyed exploring Tirana with you, and next week we're heading to Morocco, and we'll be there for 40 days. You're not going to want to miss that, so subscribe if you're not already.
Check out findinggina.com. We have articles, so much information, and our user forum.
Until next time.
Until next time.